Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the showdown slate between the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA, NFL slates, and PGA slates on Draftkings, and I also make videos for NBA Top Shot. If you are unable to watch these videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS show. And if you could, leave a 5-star rating and review. That would help me out a lot. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, offer that on patreon.com. An esports package, it includes Call of Duty and CSGO, as well as an NBA package. With the NBA package, you also get the golf data sheets for PGA for free. And then if you're interested in playing those two-day slates that we're seeing, kind of like, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday slates, I have breakdowns for those on Patreon too. And I do want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode. So, PrizePicks, a couple different ways you can play. First way is you take over/under on fantasy points. So PrizePicks will post players and their fantasy scores, and you either take the over or the under. So Devin Booker is projected for 40.5 fantasy points. Do it the under, do it the over. Basically the idea. You can also play single stat. So they'll post players and just points in general, or just assists, or straight up rebounds, 3-pointers made. So a couple different ways you can play for NBA. Also, they have every single sport you can think of. You can mix and match sports. It's a fun change of pace from DraftKings. Again, you're not playing against anyone, you're playing against the house. So if you guys want to try it out, you can sign up. Use the code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, link down below. You will get a 100% match up to $100. Basically, you put $100 in, you get a free $100 to play with. Let's see. What do I like here for tomorrow? Chris Paul. I like the over. He shot, what? Awful. I forget exactly what it was here. Actually, I can go to it really quick. He shot 5 of 19 and still went for 43 fantasy points. So don't think we'll get Chris Paul shooting that bad again. I would lean the over there on Paul at 41.5. Let's see. Terrence Mann, if he starts again, I think I like the over there at 18. Right? Keep an eye on Marcus Morris. He's going to be a game time decision, but they actually started Mann. Morris was a late move to the bench after lock, actually. So monitor that starting lineup. But yeah, if Terrence Mann starts again, I think the over on him and the over on Chris Paul is kind of what I'm liking at the moment. So before we get into players and their prices for this showdown slate, we can look back my lineup here from the showdown slate on Friday. So I got pushed out literally the last second. Obviously, the blowout hurt me a little bit having Trae Young. But this is the cash 176.75 in the big tournament. And I was 176.62. So, yeah, I did mention, though, we talked about this a couple times in YouTube live stream as well as the Patreon live stream of how if you're playing for the blowout, you just play the full-on Milwaukee stack. And I said, hey, that's possible, right? So, like the Giannis and the captain of Drew Middleton, just that full stack, that ended up winning it. That did. Now, again, I want Trae Young. I was kind of hoping for a competitive game. It wasn't a competitive game. So, yeah, Trae Young had a bad game. They got blown out, right? If Trae Young has a bad game in the series, it's going to be difficult for Atlanta to keep the game competitive. So, yeah, he was also the one let down. Value-wise, one with Content, Portis, they were both pretty solid. And then Lou Williams was just fine, just a salary relief play there for me. Now, I did win some money back in the in-game showdown. If you guys are interested, I do have a video up kind of explaining my strategy and why and when I'll play the fourth quarter in-game showdown. It's in the massive blowouts. There's a huge edge in these. We had the starters 40-ish% owned. We had some guys that like the older, like some veterans that were in the rotation that were like you just knew weren't going to play in the garbage time. It's like you want to play the end of the bench guys in that massive blowout and like look at the ownership of some of these guys. Nowara 17%, Nathan Knight 12%, Mays 14%, Fernando 5%, Diakate 8%. Right, these guys are all super low owned. When you knew the end of the bench of the guys were going to be the guys that were going to play most of the fourth quarter. So that is the biggest edge in these in-game showdown sites is when it's a blowout because people will still play the starters, and that's when you got to know, who is going to be on their court, actually. So, again, I have a video up explaining that if you're interested in looking into more of the fourth quarter showdown sites, and I think a pretty big edge. But, all right, let's jump into this. Let's talk about this showdown site. So, Suns and Clippers, again, it is... Did that just disappear on me? Okay. 218.5 over under. Suns 1-point favorites. Oh, real quick, if you guys could, leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't upload videos and you don't know live. I did an earlier live stream, so thank you to everyone coming out to check out the early live stream. I'll be live tomorrow to break down this showdown slate, so make sure to check it out, guys, and let's try to aim for 100 likes on this video. Every single like helps me out a lot. All right, so we'll start off with the Phoenix Suns side, and Booker, Paul, Ayton at the top. Once again, it's Chris Paul for me. He was my favorite play of the big three of the Suns last time. He's my favorite play again. And just look at this, right? He shot 5 of 19 and still went for 43 fantasy points. The floor of the peripheral stats, especially the assist, is why I like Chris Paul. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. He's most likely not going to shoot the ball that bad again. So I think Chris Paul is once again my favorite spend up of the big three. Booker has been really bad last couple games. 5 of 16 shooting, 5 of 21 shooting. I think Pat Beverly is getting under his skin a little bit. He does have a little bit of a lower floor, too, when Chris Paul is out there. Obviously, he's not going to handle the ball as much. So right now, Booker, more of a contrarian spend up for me. And DeAndre Ayton, I think, is pretty safe at 8-2. Know his role. Zubac playing big minutes. It actually does kind of help Ayton. He'll be around the rim more. 37, 35, 36 minutes last 3 games. I think Ayton's a pretty safe play here. Will most likely get you close to a double-double. Now, Campaign rolled his ankle early in that game. He's expected to be back, but still at this price point, just no interest. It's just too pricey, right? I think normally with Chris Paul, healthy, he's going to play 15 to 20 minutes, and it's just I don't want to pay 6.8K for Campaign. Crowder, Bridges, you know the drill. You know what I'm going to say, right? They're fine filler plays. These guys both should play over 30 minutes. More out there for the defense, but obviously they can knock down threes. Man, not super excited about it either, but it's the last piece in. Not going to talk you off him. Cam Johnson of 4K, so he's got extended a little bit. There's been some foul trouble. There's obviously the Campaign injury. So 24, 30 minutes last time out. I don't think we get 30 minutes again from Cam Johnson. I think normally we get around 20 minutes with everyone healthy and no foul trouble. So 20 minutes out of Cam Johnson of 4K is still playable, right? He's gone for 22, 17, 21 fantasy points the last 3 games. I do think he's got a little bit extended because of some injuries. First couple games, Paul's out. Last game, Payne was out. And who was it? I think it was Bridges or one of the wings got in foul trouble too. So he picked up a few extra minutes there. So I think Cam Johnson's fine. Might be a little bit overowned. I would not expect 30 minutes again from him. Now, Sarge, 2K, we know the drill with him, right? 10 to 15 minutes, a decent point per minute guy, but not going to play more than that unless you get DeAndre Ayton foul trouble. And finally, Torrey Craig at 1K, so should get around 15 minutes. He's been bad last couple games, 0 and 6 fantasy points. However, there has been some upside. He's had a couple big games in that Denver series, 24-22. He had a pretty solid game 1 there against the Clippers for 18 fantasy points. So, there is a way where Torrey Craig goes for 15 to 20 fantasy points. So I think he's an interesting contrarian play. He should be in the rotation, should get around 15 minutes. So, yeah, a little bit intrigued by Torrey Craig at the flat min price. And Abdul Nader is expected to return. Now, will he be in the rotation? I would guess not, unless we get confirmation that for sure he's going to play. Other than that, I don't think I can go there. And so moving on to the Clippers. Paul George, once again, safest bet up on the board. It's just because, again, without Kawhi Leonard, super high usage. He went for 27, 15, and 8 last game. That's the type of stat line you can expect from Paul George here without Kawhi Leonard. Also, 43 minutes, and he didn't have the best shooting game, right? He shot 9 of 26 and still went for 60 fantasy points. So, all that being said, Paul George, really good spend up. Probably the optimal play to go in the captain if you're building a cash game lineup. Now, with the mid-range guys is Reggie, Batum, Morris. Once again, I have a hard time getting to Batum and Morris. I think Reggie Jackson's the guy you look to. Going to play 35-plus minutes, a guy that is the number 2 in offense. And right now he's getting a ton of shot attempts up, 16, 19, 15, 17 shot attempts. And he's shooting the ball well. He's been, last game, not so much. Previous games, he's been doing a better job with the peripheral stats. 3 boards, 10 assists, 6 boards, 4 assists, 5 boards, 3 assists. So, he's doing a little bit better, not really being super scoring dependent, which I like. So, all in all, Reggie Jackson in the mid-range, I think is a pretty good option with some upside. But Batum, Morris, I just have a hard time getting to either of these guys. Assuming they both come off the bench, 16, 15 minutes for Batum last couple games. Marcus Morris, 25, 24. Again, he's dealing with the knee injury. He's also a game-time decision. I don't love either. Where I'm liking some value plays are these cheaper guys. Terrence Mann. So if he starts again, I think he's a really good value play. He played 32 minutes last game. 4.4K. If he starts again, I think Mann is a really good value. Now, if he comes to the bench, then he becomes a little bit riskier. but still, decent point per guy. Yeah, so I like the price there on Man. I really like the price on Zubac. I'm not sure why he is at 4.2K. The reason I say that is because he's played 34 and 32 minutes. Now, sure, Ty Lue can change things up. You never know. But assuming he starts, I would think we get similar minutes from Zubac unless there's some foul trouble or something. So, yeah, I think he's one of the best values in the slate, right? We know Zubac is a good point per guy. He's gone for a double-double back-to-back games. As long as nothing crazy happens, the minutes don't get slashed or there's no foul trouble, I think Zubac is one of the best values on the board. So, really, really like Avicii Zubac. And Pat Beverly at 3.8K. 26, 27 minutes. Not the best offensive player, but, he's cheap and should play around 25 minutes. A guy that, can get some rebounds, can get some of those peripheral stats. He's actually been shooting the ball decent, I guess, this series. So, Pat Beverly, another value play, I think is pretty solid here. Rondo got his minutes cut last game, went down to 8 minutes. He played really bad, though. Is there a way that Rondo plays 20 minutes? Sure. If he comes off the bench and plays really well, they could extend him. And his minutes have just fluctuated so much in these playoffs. There's been games where he's pushed 30 minutes and closed games, and there's been games where he gets DNPs, right? They're just all over the place. Like last 4 games, 7, 22, 17, and 8. So it's really hard to feel confident about Rondo's minutes. And Luke Kennard's at 2.2K, 19, 21 minutes last couple games. He's a good shooter. If we get similar minutes, then yeah, I do have some interest in Luke Kennard. The worry with him is he's pretty reliant on the scoring, and if he does hit his shots, he can literally get you a donut. Like that is possible, right? If he's not hitting shots, he can get you 0. And that's really it. Like Boogie Cousins, another DNP, and yeah, no one else should play here unless this game turns into a massive blowout. So, yeah, all in all, I think this is a pretty solid showdown slate. I think this is going to be setting up for more of that stars and scrubs build. But yeah, I'll talk about more of roster construction if you guys are interested in signing up on Patreon. And again, 2-game slate breakdown, that'll be up over there as well if you're interested in that. But thanks again, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the live stream.